Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the show tonight. We got a good one here. It is the race replay from Sunday night here, and of course, with that, we got the tape delay, but of some turning left, turning right, as well as we got the man in the booth as well to go over this race. We got the driver of the 97, Jeff Pogo. Jeff, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Brett. First time doing this, so this will be fun.
Yeah, that it will be. This place you know pretty well. I heard leading up to this race and then coming into it. I mean, what were your kind of expectations? I mean, a lot had to go right from the get-go.
Yeah, well, first off, I just want to say thanks to everybody that showed up tonight and did this race. I know this was going hard against what Rob wants, being primarily an oval league, but we had a pretty good turnout, more than I thought we were going to have, and everyone did a pretty good job. So just want to applaud everybody that showed up. But yeah, a lot of hard work on this one for sure. It was definitely sketchy in this car, but everybody made it work.
Yeah, that they did, and I think as we start up qualifying everyone on their out lap, so that's why we see the no times down low or anything like that. But I mean, 23 cars here tonight. That's no number to laugh at, especially here at Bathurst.
No, it's not. You're gonna run into a lot of traffic, probably up in the mountain section, mainly, which is kind of treacherous. But 23 cars is a pretty good field, especially with a stock car.
Yeah, that it is. Awesome numbers to see here as we get you getting closer to take your first green flag lap. And what's kind of going through your mind here? A lot of laps at this track for at least you. For the rest of the field, maybe not so much. I know a few really good road course guys coming in, but where does it come to that? Hey, we got to go throw down a good time to start up front, hopefully in front of the mess. But also, you can't push it. A tire off the track, that's a 1X. That lap doesn't count.
Yeah, you definitely got to keep it all on the track. And, a GT3 car, you can get away with actually hopping some curbs and going on two wheels. This car, you can't touch the curbs. It'll upset it. It's so rigid. It'll spin out so easy. The only other guy that's in the field that I know that had not quite as many laps as me, but I know Steve Holmes has turned probably close to 3,000, if not more here as well. So he's a 12-hour Bathurst winner with me in this, in a GT3 car, and I'm a 3-time 12-hour winner here. So one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah, that it is a lot of experience for this place. And when you see this place, like you said, can't take the curbs as much as, like you said, a GT3 car. So how much did that come into effect, kind of trying to relearn the track, saying, hey, we can hit this curb, or hey, we can't hit this curb like we normally do?
Oh, it's huge. You got to drive the track completely different. And these brakes, having no ABS, no traction control, like just the way you enter the corners, your braking, everything is way different. You have to back up your braking points unbelievably compared to a GT3 car.
Yeah, that definitely seemed like the case. And this turn right here, that kind of downhill left-hander, man, that was tough for even me to really get under my belt, because you overdrive it just a little bit, you apply some more brake, you're either getting the back end to come out, or you're just locking up the front and just driving straight there. So that seemed like a very treacherous corner that you had to be on your marks.
Oh yeah, and if you did lock up a wheel coming into that, you're best to ease off the brake and then try to slowly get back into it.
Yeah, totally kind of backwards as what you expect, right? That, hey, this car isn't wound up, and what? I gotta let off the brake pedal?
Yeah, it's different to train your mind to go for that. So a lot of guys did it though.
Yes, here we go. Lap number 1 completed for you. It looks like about 3 of the 5 purple sectors there for, 3 of the 6, but Jamison Heath having a few purple sectors as well. And that first lap there looked like just got the right side off the track there, coming through those high-speed S's, and did not allow your lap time. So now a little bit more pressure put on you, right?
Yeah, it was. Tires aren't up to temp yet. They're still not even on this lap. And then, you know, brakes got to get warmed up. And then throughout each lap, I actually changed brake bias for a certain amount of corners. So that's all done on the fly while I'm racing too.
Yeah, that it looks like here as we try and get some of the best times put up here. If they would load, looks like might be a little bit too long. We'll try and reload that. But right now it's Michael Wolf at 2 minute and 6 second 0.62. I just threw down a 2:06.6 as well. So some decent times there up the top, and I mean everything's separated by about 5 seconds or left because Steve Ritter, you know, is still in the 2:11 on his first lap as well. And like you said a little bit right there too, Jeff, I think it only gets faster the more laps you run right here in qualifying.
Yeah, it does. It takes a good 2 laps for your tires to even get up temperature and come in before you can really push it.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like that is. So we'll see who can improve on their lap times and what it looks like. But right now, Michael Wolf with the quick time so far with that 2:06.6 at the moment. But here we go, back into those fast S's here. We'll see what you can kind of run. This time looking a lot smoother, and now purple sector there through the S's as well for you. So this looks like it should be a pretty good lap for you.
Yeah, this wasn't a bad lap. Jameson definitely didn't let me sleep on it either. He kept me honest all night, so it was definitely a good battle with him.
Yeah, I was going to say 2:05.29, that'll put you at the top of the board in this final lap. I know if you want to kind of go on board, talk about what you're kind of looking at, what you're kind of doing, but we'll get a lap with the 97 machine as his final 3 laps. A little bit different as well, 3 laps here for Bathurst.
Yeah, so this is the flying lap. You want to brake pretty early for there compared to a GT3, take it down into second. Try to get as close to that curb as possible without touching it and upsetting the car. Here I just stay on the chip. Well, I didn't there, but normally I do, and I change the brake bias more towards the front for this corner. And then as I'm going up the hill here, you want to stay a little bit left of the wall. There's a good bump there that'll upset the car. Same thing here. Straight as the exit as possible, up through the gears. You're going to stay in third. Hug the curb, try to take it out to the wall. And then same thing here, hug the curb, take it out as far as you can without hitting the other one. And here I downshift to first to help slow the car and rotate without using as much brake. As close to the wall as you can get there. Second gear, and then back down to first here, and this is where you're light on the brakes till about right here. You want to get as close to the wall as you can and out as far, leaving. And then up through the gears. And I'm actually putting some more rear brake bias in it as I'm going down the track here. So going into this high-speed corner here, I'm going to be on the brakes a little bit before I get around the corner, lift a little bit, and then back on the brakes hard. And then make your left up against the thing, and then back to the right. Getting hard on the brakes here, as close to the inside curb as possible. And then try to stay a little bit left because there is a bump all the way out to the right there to finish the lap.
Yeah, and a great lap by you, throwing down there a 2:04. So that looks like it will be the quick time at the moment here. Still not working in the overlay department, at least for the qualifying times. But Nate Brooker in second at 2:05.3. Jamison Heath currently best with a 2:05.6, but still out on track. It looks like he will bring it to a stop as well. So some good times up towards the top, but still everyone within, I want to say the top 15, you know, right around 5 seconds or less, which is pretty darn close for this place, especially with this combo.
Yeah, it is, and the fact that everybody can run so close together is kind of impressive. So this is a person right here that really kind of impressed me the other night too. Eli, he had a good run, along with Arabia as well. So both had strong runs, and man, I don't know how nervous Arabia was when I got around him, but I'd haul ass around him and he'd just keep on going. So slow and steady. I warned all these guys it'd be the way to finish this out, get a good finish, and a lot of them listen.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely was a race of attrition because all it takes is one mistake, overdrive one corner, and you end up in one of these walls. I mean, we can see just looking at this mountain section, I mean, there's absolutely zero runoff, and with these cars kind of being kind of susceptible to big hits, right, it could really spell race trouble pretty quickly. As we wrap up qualifying, and it looks like, Jeff, you're going to be walking away here with that RC, Rock Pirates RC, excuse me, pole award here. And that's got to feel pretty good for you.
Yeah, it does. Like I said, everyone kind of knew going into this that I was the favorite, but I kept telling everybody, you know, just because I've got a million laps here and I've won the 12-hour 3 times, you can't say that I'm just going to go out here and just dominate this thing. Because like we're going to see and like guys are practicing, you lock one tire, you're going to bounce off the concrete walls at the top of the mountain and your race is going to be done. So any slip would really cost anybody here.
Yeah, I know. I found the wall a few times. I just tried to hit as square as I could and hope that we didn't take any tires off the race car. But now let's get things rocking and rolling here. We got cars on the grid. Let's go through tonight's starting order. So it'll be the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo leading the way here. He qualified with the quick time to his outside. It is the 00 of Nate Brooker. A great lap there by Nate. He will start on the front row. Jamison Heath here tonight will start in the 3rd position, and Courtney Nelson, in the 78 will start in 4th. Rolling off 5th will be the 20 of Michael Wolf. Starting in 6th will be myself in the 71. Tyler Humphrey in the 7 car will start in 7th. Stephen Holmes in the 90 will start in 8th. Mason Hall in the 14 will start 9th, and rounding out the top 10, that will be the 80 car of Tim Rogers. Rolling off 11th is the 22 machine of Mike Kelly. Starting in 12th is the 39 of Chance Griffith. James Hislop will start in 13th, 14th going to Grant Humphrey in the 48. John Crosby in the 73 machine will start in 15th, 16th going to the 61 of Steve Ritter. Eli Raposa will start in 17th. Arabia Caton will start in 18th. Rob Lowell, 19th. Johnny Barker in 20th. 21st, Todd Perot. 22nd, Chris Progar. And Evan Fuqua in 23rd. So that will be tonight's starting order. And I was pretty impressed by this as well, Jeff. Every driver on the grid here, so all 23 cars, all starting from the grid and will take the green flag together. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive too. Nobody chickened out and decided to start from pit road, so glad to see that. That just goes to show you the guys in here, they're not scared of anything.
Yeah, exactly. That was awesome to see here. And kind of a little short parade lap. We, of course, start on the backstretch there and get ready to take the green flag here. So I assume you're just hoping get clear here into at least turn 2, right, and try and hit your marks on some cold tires.
Try to, and try not to push wide. This is kind of a weird start, though, the way you take this corner, and then there's not really a start zone or anything. So you just kind of start rolling on the gas, and once it goes green, here we go.
Yeah, we go green flag racing here in down Underland, down here in Mount Panorama. Is Nate Brooker there, a little bit wide, turn number 1. That opens up the door for Jamison Heath as well as Courtney Nelson. So those two going to make up a few spots quick here, as we'll see if we can get all sorted out heading into turn number 1. I tell you what, gaggle race cars deeper in this field, and that's kind of to be expected, right? Starting mid-pack, it's all about fighting for this track position here early.
It's fighting for the track position and just being patient and careful on these first opening laps. You usually in the 12-hour races, you'll see a lot of guys right here in this hairpin will loop it, and it just stacks up the entire field. Everybody barrels into it. So glad to see nobody pulled that off and ruin the field here on the start.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone making their way up the mountain here. And like you said, cold tires, something to really be aware of, because like you said, even in qualifying, it took, at least 2 to 3 laps for these tires to come up to temperature. So everyone really running on pins and needles, not only with their own car, but being kind of aware of, hey, something could happen in front.
Everyone doing a real nice job here getting up and down through the mountain. You see a couple tire lockups, but that's pretty normal with some cold tires here. Guys just trying to figure some things out. Looks like we might have had one pop the wall here. Oh, there we go. We got one around.
Yeah, looks
Bad spot to be around in the mountain too.
Yeah, that it is. Luckily, towards the back here, now everyone able to mostly get safely on by. That's a 69 machine of Top Hero. Also up towards the front here, we had a battle for a second there between Heath and Nelson. Looks like Nelson going to back out of it for the time being. But yeah, some good racing all around this racetrack, and that's kind of to be expected here at the start as we see Chris Progar here trying to work over Grant Humphrey.
Made a good clean pass there. I think Grant wasn't really wanting to fight it and cause an issue here early, so he just kind of let him go. He said, you know what, you go ahead and take it. I'm just going to catch you here in a few laps.
Yeah, and that's definitely the right mentality to have for this race because, like we said already, you know, it's going to be a race of attrition when it's all said and done. And kind of another kind of X factor that we didn't really have is, you know, practice always kind of pointed to a little bit hotter racetrack. Well, we get into the actual race and it's cold and the sun's setting for another little X factor when it's all said and done.
Yeah, threw us for a little loop, but I'm sure that everybody's glad that we have the extra grip.
Yeah, that it is. It definitely helped on out for a lot of drivers here as we see the 11 try and make another move here. Crosby in a little bit deep, maybe same with the 11. Everyone able to keep it facing the right direction, but man, that could have been pretty sketchy right heading into turn number 2 there.
Yeah, that's not a real good place to pass. A lot of guys there aren't really paying attention to the other cars around them. They did a nice job managing that, though. I think Progar probably thought better of it once he shot the inside there.
Yeah, that it is. 2 cars also close here in the mountain. James Hipsoff and Mike Kelly. Those two going to go side by side right at the top of the mountain. Man, that's always a sketchy spot. We always hear, you know, it passing almost impossible in the mountain, but somehow they made that work, at least this time.
Yeah, there's only a couple spots that you want to try to pass in the mountain, and that would not be one of mine.
As we have one car turned around right in front of him, that's the 80 machine of Tim Rogers. Another kind of bad spot to be stopped here.
I don't know if you're watching this, Tim, but you can't park there, bud.
That you cannot. Luckily, everyone else making good evasive maneuvers here as the 80 machine probably has to sit here and wait till pretty much the whole field kind of passes on by, right?
Yeah, you do. It's a whole blind section right here, especially where he is on the track. You can't see that till you start going down that hill right there. So no full course cautions. It's locals only. And another factor tonight that normally you don't have to deal with here is you don't have a spotter. So normally when you run an endurance event, you have other people on your team spot for you, you know, telling you, hey, there's trouble in this turn, or the car's on the left, they're right, they're rolling, they're not rolling. Well, here you just had a local yellow. You don't know where they're at.
Yeah, that you don't know until you see them. And like you said, with those blind corners, very tough to kind of react in time. And, you know, it can really make you as a racer kind of react in a way that could maybe induce an error, right? You know, you get on that brake pedal a little bit too hard, lock up, and then all of a sudden you're part of the calamity out on track as well.
Oh, yeah, it's easy to do for sure.
Yeah, that it is. As we take a look here, great 3-car battle going on for second, third, and fourth. All 3 of these cars, you know, within half a second of one another. So this is awesome to see out on track.
That's definitely a good little battle. Guys are doing good, keeping a little bit of a gap between each other. These cars are very aero sensitive. And even here, you know, you wouldn't think the mountain's not a very high speed area, so it wouldn't affect, you know, being directly behind another car, but it does.
Yeah, that it does. Looks like maybe another issue for another car. Eli Raposa there starting up the mountain. We'll go on around. We'll get that car re-rolling in the 46. So he will jump back in around 19th or so as we head back up to that battle. So still in these first, I want to say 2 laps here, only really 2 or 3 cars with an issue. That's pretty awesome to see. No big one as everyone, that was kind of what everyone was worried about there at the start, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what you're worried about.
Yeah, as we see now, Rob Lowell in the 21 machine, it looks like the start of the downhill section, some troubles for the 21 as he tries to get sorted on the access road. Luckily, this was the one spot where you probably, if you go around anywhere, where you want to do it right is with that little bit of extra road there on the racetrack.
Yeah, so when you're running the 12-hour, it would be the same here too. If a lot of guys, if you start going down to that section, if you catch someone in a bad spot there, or you get a little loose or something finicky happens there, a lot of guys will just choose to go straight, which you'll have a slowdown penalty going through there for cutting the course. But it's a lot safer just to go through that little straight section than it is to try to make the S's, because you're going to clobber the wall.
Yeah, definitely a really good point there. And, that's the name of the game, especially at this place, is always have your head on a swivel here. It looks like these guys starting to catch the 97 machine just a little bit. I have a feeling Jeff may be in just, conservation mode, trying to take care of your stuff, because, it's a long way before we see pit road again.
Yeah, it was a little bit of trying to take care of my stuff and honestly kind of trying to see what those guys have, the lines they run. I'm sitting here watching my mirror, trying to see what they're doing. Just, basically, well, we see a problem right there with Brooker.
Yeah, Brooker
getting a little
hard in
too
the
hot.
wall.
But yeah, just kind of sizing them up, see what they got. The 9 and 78 were fast all night, so yeah, just kind of keeping an eye on them and pacing myself. Don't want to try to push it too hard, run away from the field, and then push and make a mistake and wad it up and hand it away. So at the same point, I can also tell that the guys behind me aren't pushing fully either yet.
Yeah, it looks like we got trouble here. Steve Ritter off and maybe out of the race. Michael Wolf around in the final corner going down the mountain. So a little bit of calamity as people starting to get into it. Maybe aggression levels starting to go on up, because Wolf definitely has a little bit of rear end damage, but we saw Brooker there hit the wall a ton, right front damage as well. So now not only is it an issue, but maybe a compounding issue, because we saw then right into the next corner locking up that damaged right front tire as well.
Yeah, he's probably got some maybe some toe or camber or something's knocked out, not allowing that car to slow down the right amount. But I'd be curious to see what happened to Ritter there. I know he said he had an issue, but not really sure what it was. I don't know if we could catch that or not, Brett.
Yeah, I'll see if I can go back here and see the replay, and then see if we can head back to the live time. And we should be able to, as here we go, Steve Ritter just through the fast section up at the top of the mountain, just got the wall a ton with the right front there. And that's kind of one of the trickiest spots where it's all about feeling these race cars, right?
Yep, he went a little wide there, smacked the wall, and that's going to set him up here real bad. It upset the car. You see him get over the curb even more, and then shoots you to the inside wall, and then he's going to come back across the track. That's a hard hit. That's a night done right there. You're not coming back from that.
Yeah, definitely that is the case here as we jump back here more towards the live action here. John Crosby, another driver dealing with some damage, definitely affecting the handling on that race car there with that right front damage.
You sitting here like we're what, 10 minutes into this race, and I'm sitting here looking at my relative, when we're running, and looking at the 9 and 78 behind me keeping pace, and I'm like, okay, might have my hands full here tonight. These two are already applying a little bit of pressure, keeping me honest, not letting me get away, and really made it to where I couldn't back down any more than I wanted to. Otherwise, they would have pounced on it. And actually, Jameson, I don't know if it happened yet, but one of the corners, I forgot to change my brake bias back, got a little wheel hop going in the corner, had a slow exit. He got up next to me. I thought I was going to lose the lead. So one mistake, man. These guys were here to pounce.
Yeah, that they were. I think that has yet to come here so far in this one. I think that happened right around lap 7 or so. I think we're on lap 5. With a timed race, always kind of cool to see a little bit different. But sadly, with it being a timed race, we don't have the laps here right in front of us to see what's going on exactly. But yeah, I believe, I think lap 5, and it may have already just happened actually, now that I'm looking at my extra stuff in the background here.
I'm not sure. I'd have to see if he led a lap yet, but It was out of this final turn here is where I had a bad exit. He got next to me, so I don't know. But if you'll notice throughout this race, Jameson was actually doing something different than me. That back stretch with that little kink to the right before that final set of S's, he was actually going down to fourth gear to slow the car down, where I was staying in fifth. So two different driving styles going through there. I believe his way was actually allowing him to get a little bit deeper into the corner than the way I was doing it. So yeah, just different drivers and different styles.
Yeah, as we're right on board here with Jameson Heath trying to put some pressure on you. I mean, man, it's just so fun to just kind of ride around. And like you said, everyone's driving this track a little bit different. Yeah, we all have the same setup, the same car, but man, everyone doing something a little bit different. We see Heath a little bit wider coming into that left-hand turn. So it's really cool just to watch and see this flow through everyone.
Oh yeah, he was definitely wider than I would have took that. I'm not as comfortable in that little kink before that hairpin going up the hill. So he was definitely faster through that section for sure.
Yeah, and then looking at battling for positions, it looks like Stephen Holmes here, he has driven up into the top 5, so the 90 machine up to P number 5 here as well.
Steve's one you got to watch. I told you he's got a lot of laps here. He's a sleeper for sure. And you can see here coming out of the force elbow, man, just a good exit is all you need to get down this straightaway. If you have a terrible exit, kind of like Heath did there, just the ground you lose. You'll see him close a big gap of it up right here, though, into this heavy braking section.
Yeah, that it is. And now the first time we see now some lap traffic come into a factor, right?
Yeah, and that's definitely a big deal. And that right there is what slowed me up. And it kind of made me miss my braking point a little bit, so I wheel hopped, and it kept me slow. So just try to protect the inside right here and do the best I can.
Yeah, now you got the Jameson Heath there right back on your rear bumper here. Here comes Courtney Nelson as well. So 3 cars for this race lead, all under a blanket here once again.
It's impressive to see 3 cars this speed, with the cars not having any assist as far as traction control braking, and be this close.
Yeah, that it is. I mean, very, very impressive to see that. Like we've all said all night long already, right? It just takes that one mistake here for these guys not only to, hit their marks, but do it under the pressure of a race. You got all that adrenaline pumping. You want to go faster to either hang on to your spot or get around someone. So it's just awesome to watch these cars dance in motion as, Heath, a little bit of the wall hit. So that's that taken as wide as he can get it.
Yeah, and it's hard to have reference points too when you got a car directly in front of you. You can't. A lot of us are visual guys, on like when to stop or hit your brakes or braking marks, stuff like that. I'm more of a sound guy, listening to the car and the RPMs. I kind of just get in a rhythm with that. There is a couple turns in here that you have visual markers, but most of the time I just go off the feel of the engine. Yeah,
definitely. That is, I think, the ultimate way to run a race car is, base everything off the sounds of RPMs, when to brake, all that good stuff. As we see the Skull Aussie machine of Tim Rogers, a little bit more trouble in that final corner. And I tell you what, we'll see it probably a little bit later on, but man, that final corner, that curb is no joke if you hit that wrong.
No, it's not. It'll get the car up on 2 wheels, and you'll start bouncing real bad, get out of shape. And if somebody gets a little wheel hop and gets in there over that curb, it'll send you for a ride.
Yeah, that it will do. As here we go. Here's one mistake by me of many of the night, just into the S's, a little bit too hot there. Have to take a little bit evasive maneuvers there onto the grass, but we hopefully get things rocking and rolling. But yeah, I tell you what, I had myself a handful, but a lot of fun with the handfulness.
Yeah, I was glad you come out and race with us. I know you were looking forward to it. I don't think you had very much practice either, which makes this drive for you even more impressive.
Yeah, I tell you what, I always enjoy, some challenges when it comes to iRacing, and, kind of different combos that you don't really see. And so when I heard Mount Panorama was going to be on the schedule, I said, oh man, I have to get behind the wheel if I can somehow ship a car over to Down Under and see what we could do, and hopefully just survive till the end, right?
That's all you got to do is survive to the end. I mean, that's the big thing. Even the 12-hour here, guys get patient, want to go right out of the gate. It's like, dude, you got 11 hours and 58 minutes left. There's no need to push it. So just take care of your stuff, and you're usually going to get a good finish.
Yeah, that is the case here. Some big movers here to start the race. Chris Progar here up 9 spots from where he started. He is just outside of the top 10 here in 13th. Another big mover here, the 39 machine of Chance Griffith, just outside of the top 5 in 8th. He has made up 4 spots. And then our man Steve Holmes here inside of the top 5. This 90 machine looking nice and consistent.
That's what you're going to see out of Steve all night. That's how he always is. He'll always say he's not the flashiest, he's not the fastest, but I'm telling you, if you need someone consistent that's just going to run clean lap after lap after lap, it's Steve.
Yeah, that it is. A few drivers here throwing in their best times. I believe last time by it was actually 73 machine John Crosby able to throw down a 2:10 here with race pace. So that's kind of what we discussed a little bit even before the race, right, Jeff? Is that race pace maybe around a 2:08, 2:09, right, to really kind of be in the ballpark of where you need to be.
Yeah, I thought going into tonight, that's probably where the race pace would be. You know, I think it's fast enough where you're going to be competitive, but it's also not so fast that you're going to go out here, make a mistake, and do something that's going to end up costing you heavily. So race pace is definitely different from qualifying pace, that's for sure.
Yeah, that it is. 2 different kind of ballparks where you need to be as things start to close on up a little bit just outside of the top 10. Tyler Humphrey within a second or so of me, and then Chance Griffith now right there as well. So things starting to close on up just a little bit. And that's what we can see as well, right? Maybe some guys qualified a little bit better. Maybe a few guys made a mistake, and now we're starting to see where everyone kind of shakes on out now that, you know, the race is well underway and people are starting to really get in their rhythm.
Yeah, you're going to have some guys in qualifying that might have pushed it too hard and just barely scraped the wall, going a little bit wide on an exit or trying to get everything they could, which put them a little further back in the field, which they just had to go, you know, through the field once the race went green and start marching their way to the front. As you can see, some of these guys brushing the wall on exit, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just using every bit of track they can.
And that's kind of what you need to do with these race cars. I mean, it was so tough. We always talk a little bit of the lack of feel right in these cars with where it happens. Oh, as we see Mike Kelly here with an issue. He's already to pit road. So let's see what happened to the 22 machine up at the top of the mountain, it looks like, for him.
I was going to say, it looks like he's a little wide there, and he's going to get on that curb.
Oh, yeah, that curb definitely did it, and that might be the end of the night for the 22 because that's a big hit as well.
That is a big hit. That's high speed. I could tell as soon as you went to that camera view that he wasn't close enough to that inside curb, and he was going to go over the rumble strips on the outside.
Yeah, that's kind of we talked about it already a little bit, but that's the X factor when it comes to this kind of combo is then the curbs that we can use, can't use, as up towards the front. You and Jameson, man, still neck and neck here. Have driven away a little bit from Courtney Nelson, but man, that 9 car keeping you honest.
He was, for sure. He had me a little worried, I'm not going to lie, thinking that maybe I was going to have somebody up here battling with me, like as we're sitting here watching this 3-car battle here. I don't know if you noticed, Brett, off in the distance, you can kind of see that red dust from the that Australian dirt getting kicked up in the sunset here. It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, that it is, and I think that might have been kicked up once again from the 71 machine, as you know, now I lost right there 2 spots, so at this point I'm like, all right, I'm going to try and lock on in here, stay on the back bumper of these two, because I tell you what, Chance Griffith, he was hauling some mail driving up through this field, and that 39 car, I'm like, as long as I can stay towed on with him, he's got something figured out a little bit here.
Yeah, riding behind some guys like this isn't a bad idea either. You can try to learn some stuff from them. You can actually learn a lot just from following somebody.
Yeah, that you can. We'll keep the camera on this best battle on the speedway with these 3 cars, and of course up towards the front, still under a second difference between first and second throughout the field. Though I want to say, still have, I think, about 3 cars done for the night, so still right around 20 cars still out here on the racing surface.
Yeah, you see 39 there, got a little loose going up the hill, a little sideways. Tyler did a good job not pressuring it, trying to go into that, so good job for both those drivers.
Yeah, and for me, I always felt like throughout the night, as we see big time lockups through everyone here, and I was just about to say that corner always, I could never really get down, it seemed like, and then of course you mess up that corner and it kills your lap, because then it leads into a very fast long straightaway.
Oh yeah, especially with some other cars with you, you're missing out on a big draft. Curious to see how these guys do this here. I thought we were going to see a pass set up to the inside, but thought twice about it.
Yeah, Tyler Humphrey had a nice run there. Going to hold off on the attack here for the time being. But yeah, keeping a lot of pressure here on this 39 machine. Up towards the front, though, I think Jamison Heath may have had a little bit of a moment on his lap now, about 3 seconds back from you. So now at this point, you know, have a little bit of breathing room finally for the first time here tonight. What are your thoughts out in front?
I just keep telling myself, keep backing up your braking points. This isn't a GT3. I had to tell myself all night because I've just, like I said, I have so many laps here in a GT3 car. I just have to train myself to run it differently for this car.
Yeah, as here we go. Here's the move for Tyler Humphrey into turn number 2 to the inside of Chance Griffith. Griffith, though, gonna keep right in the mirrors. Oh, Tyler, big time in the wall here.
That's that going wide, you know, like I said, I don't like doing, because if you go a little wide, there are marbles and stuff out there. If you get in them, you're going to get loose, and once your right rear quarter touches that wall, it kind of just sucks you into it.
Yeah, that it does, and that's we saw there from the 7 machine. A pretty good hit, definitely jumped the rear tires off the ground, and he's now probably going to have to deal with a little damage on the right side of that race car.
Just a little scrape, no big deal. As long as we don't hit any kangaroos, you'll be good.
That is the case, as Eli Raposa here, trouble in the last hit turn down the mountain. It looks like that car might be broke here. It looks like he will bring it to a stop in the grass maybe, but yeah, that thing pretty wounded for the 46 here.
Yeah, you can see that right front tire is actually pointing left, so definitely not tracking straight. That was a big hit, I would assume, down into that hairpin.
Yeah, that it was a big hit to the right side through the hairpin here, and yeah, still a little bit of time. You know, we had a scheduled distance of 100, or I should say an hour and 30 minutes, but you know, as the sun continues to set, we're all keeping an eye on, you know, how much daylight we also have on the speedway, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a concern once the session went live, and then we all started looking and seeing what, you know, Australia's time was, and you know, they don't have daylight savings time down there, and it's their cool part of the season. So sun definitely set a little bit early. I think 5:30 p.m. is their sunset time, and I think we were about 4:45 p.m. or so about right now in the race.
Yeah, so definitely starting to get a little bit later, starting to get a little bit darker, but here we go. We see Mike Wolf here tracking down James Hislop for a top 10 spot, as Wolf was inside of the top 10, so he had a little mistake there, had the car facing the wrong direction, but trying to rebound nicely here and trying to track down this 92. Looks like we got Grant Humphrey in the YouTube chat lands as well, and yeah, we haven't got to old Tyler's flip yet. That's still to come here tonight, and that's a wild ride we're gonna have to take a look at, as we see John Crosby here, a little bit of issue here into turn number 1, and turn 1, another kind of tricky spot, right? Easy to overdrive and miss where you should be actually braking by, as you know, you cross the start finish line.
Yeah, there's actually braking markers on the right before you go into that corner. I'm not sure everybody else was braking, but going into that, when I was, running fairly conservative, I brake around the 150 mark. And then whenever I'm wanting to go in deep, I brake about the 100 mark in this car. So there are marks there, but even if you hit them, there's a little bit of dirt on the track right here, and then it dips down a little bit there, and then on the exit, there's a bump. And if you're not light on the throttle, that bump will set the car to the inside wall.
Yeah, that it is here we go, another off-track excursion for myself here. And yeah, it was tough, especially into turn number one. I always felt like I couldn't trust the car past the 150 mark. So to hear, you were driving it past that mark, that's pretty impressive, because even at the 150, I felt like at times my car wouldn't slow up in time for most corners.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I changed my brake bias throughout the lap. So some of the corners I'll be like a 46% brake bias, and then the ones like at the top of the mountain where I don't want to get loose, I'll roll the brake bias forward as I'm coming up the mountain and put it around 47 and a half, closer to 48. As I'm coming back down, I'll roll back to low 46s, maybe a high 45 to get a little bit more rear brake and help turn the car, uh, which does help, but it's also sketchy if something goes wrong or you get a little wheel hop. You have to rev match if you have your brake bias that low, or you're going to wheel hop in this car and go around.
Yeah, that's definitely the key there, and especially a good point there. The real good road course racers like yourself always adjusting that brake bias style. The closest we kind of get to that maybe on oval track races is, I know I do it a little bit, and some other people do it as well. But when it comes to like Darlington, let's say, I've been known to change that brake bias depending on if I'm going into turn one versus turn three.
Yeah, myself at Darlington, I don't do it per lap there, but as the run goes on, you'll definitely change it for sure. A lot of these guys are either a right foot gas and brake guy, or they're left foot brake, right foot gas. Not sure what they're doing here at the road course. I was trying to see if I could set up a pedal cam because I'm a heel toe shifter on road courses in a stock car. So using the right foot to hit the brake and the gas at the same time, left foot to work the clutch. So it does help manage wheel hop a little bit. Like in real life, SVG, they all kind of pat him on the back and say it's a skill that they don't know how to do. Now, I'm not saying I'm no SVG by any chance, but you can definitely tell it does help as far as wheel hop, revving, or even kind of laying on the clutch a little bit to help settle the car down.
Yeah, that it does. Is here we go. I spin off the final corner. Just got a little bit too much of that curve that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So trying to mitigate my mistakes. And when it's a mistake, it always seems like once you come back out, there's always a car right behind you at that point.
Yeah, like I said, where you made that mistake, you just probably gave it a little too much throttle and a round it went. You just had to be like there was an eggshell under that thing all night.
Yeah, that you did. And how about this up towards the front though? Pass for second, Courtney Nelson up to P number 2 with Jameson Heath now putting a lot of pressure on the back bumper there.
That was a good pass. You could see both those guys up through that front section too, using every bit of the track all the way to the outside wall, almost dragging a quarter panel on it. So keep an eye on these two right here and see how they do. They had a good battle all night. I was watching my relative behind me, and I was watching the gap, seeing they're pretty close together, so I knew they were battling. So I was kind of wishing I could have watched it while it was going on, but sitting here watching it now is going to be fun.
Yeah, that it is. Of course, these cars into a lot of lap traffic here. We'll try and throw up a track map on the right side of our screen, kind of see where everyone is running out on track, just to get a little ideas. Top arrow there, wide through that corner. Good news for the leaders, though. They don't have to deal with that.
Yes, we got Steve Holmes in the chat here. Steve, it's good to have you out here. Glad to see you're tuning in for this. One mistake killed it. You bounced it off the wall, killed your speed. Yeah, it's easy to do here. Even with all the laps we have, it's even Steve proves it's easy to do.
Yeah, that he is. As we take a look live here, you can see the right front damage on the 90 machine, so just got a little bit of wall there, but he is tracking down Nate Brooker, who's dealing with some damage, a lot of smoke there, and then Chance Griffith in that 39 machine as well, trying to get in the mix. So we might have a 3-car battle here before we know it, as all 3 of these cars starting to get closer to one another.
And I got to tell you what, for all the guys on here that do their own paints, or BG Graphix, you know, Brandon does paints for a lot of these guys. Steve's one that always does his own paints, and he's probably always got one of the best looking cars, I think, on the track.
Yeah, that he does. Nate Brooker hard in the wall there. Turn number 2. Looks like Brooker going to call it a night with that hit. So that damage finally too much for the 00, and that puts that nice looking 90 machine up to P number 4 now.
Yeah, Brooker was another one that had speed in practice, so kind of shocked to see him make that mistake going into turn number 2 there. I don't know if he just got it a little deep, which is easy to do, and you know, a little bit deep there, you're going to end up smacking the wall in this car.
Yeah, that it is, like we talked about, and I will continue to say it. All it takes is one mistake at this racetrack. Overdrive one corner, you smack that wall too hard, it's pretty much game over from there. So we'll go jump on around here. Mason Hall has gotten around the 71 machine of myself, so Mason Hall, another driver, making his way up through this field as his run continues to go on. And at this point of the race, you know, tires very much worn, fuel starting to get on the lighter side, because, you know, pit road probably about right around 15 minutes or so. You know, you want to split this race in half, but the X factor with the pit road is, you know, how can you get onto pit road as well? When's the right time is if this race gets called early for the kind of sun not being out, right?
Yeah, that was something kind of in the back of all of our heads is, you know, is the race going to get cut short, or are we going to make it? And then, like you said, very tricky pit road here. I don't know who designed it, but they should have been fired, because it's like a slalom course going through there. And then your pit road speed's actually 31 miles an hour, which is kind of weird. But I don't know about everybody else, but I know the way that I was running, and how I said I go down into first gear to try to slow the car down with the RPMs. You're obviously using more gas when you do that, and when you're rev matching and keeping the RPMs up. So I had to pit halfway through this, and even with me pitting halfway through, I was only about a lap to the good. If the race goes the full hour and a half, I was only 1 lap to the good on fuel. So it almost became a fuel mileage race, but glad it didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the guys behind you were hoping that it was a fuel mileage, that, you know, you'd have to maybe back down that pace a little bit extra than what was needed, but luckily that was not the case here, as we see now Chance Griffith up to P number 4 around Steve Holmes. So this 39 still making up time out here on the speedway. Last time by his best lap as well, a 2:06.9, so a pretty good lap there, as he now gets a little bit of lap traffic right in front of him through the mountain and looking for a pass. Man, that's asking for a lot.
It's asking for a lot in this car. He did a good job avoiding that, though. He could have put himself in a real bad spot. As you see right there, Johnny goes a little bit wide. That's another spot that'll get you. A lot of guys will go wide there to try to give someone the inside, but when they go wide, they push, bounce off the wall, and they'll come back and hit you. So good job avoiding any calamity there.
Yeah, as that was going on too, the 71 machine, a big mistake at the top of the mountain, got that thing big time sideways, and now has fallen all the way back to 10th. So I have a little bit of work cut out for me now with that one. As old trouble up the mountain for the 48 machine, Grant Humphrey going on around. And it looks like at the same time as well, Chance Griffith, and a huge hit for the 39. Let's see what happened to him as well. So looking at a replay here for the 39 machine, and man, a spot where you really don't see it too. Oh, a huge hit.
A huge hit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's night over right there.
Yeah, as he was making his way nicely up through the field, and wow, what a big hit as that thing snapped back to the left, and yeah, right into those tire barriers.
That's a strange place too. You don't get a lot of wheel spin there normally, so I'm curious what happened.
Yeah, I'm interested as well. Not sure if maybe it was a little bit of wheel spin, or do you think it's that other X factor we haven't talked too much about? We noticed a lot behind the wheel. I know I did, and I'm sure you did as well. A little bit of debris on this track. You know, iRacing always trying to make it more and more realistic, and I saw quite a bit of marbles, especially through that S section here tonight.
Oh yeah, they'll keep building up as this race goes on. You get out of the groove, your tires are like you just picked up rocks and it won't steer.
Yeah, that definitely is the case. As last time by Courtney Nelson able to throw down a 205.8, so the 78 machine starting to pick up some pace here, driving a little bit away from Jamison Heath as well.
Yeah, and he's closing the gap on me, you could see. So he definitely had some pace later in this run.
Yeah, that he did. Now about a 3-second gap to our race leader, which is you, Jeff. And yeah, starting to get now about 10 minutes out from the pit stop here. So everyone's starting to keep their eye on that. But at least a little bit of gap for you with least lap traffic out in front of you. You know, a lot of cars still up in the mountain as you're going through the final couple corners. So at this point in the race, still just looking at that relative, right? Trying to manage. And that's kind of the name of the game with a road race, right?
Yeah, it is. Just manage your stuff, take care of it. You kind of notice, we just seen that view going down that backstretch there. I don't think people realize the speed these cars are doing through here. A GT3 car going down the mountains around 180 going into that final section past the kink into that heavy braking before the S's, and these cars are pushing in excess of 190. And next lap we come through there. Let's try to pay attention, Brett. There's some braking marks that are on the right hand side in that heavy braking zone. GT3 car, myself, I'm braking around the 150 mark, and these cars, I can't speak for everybody, but myself, like I said, I'm braking before the kink even, so you're probably a good 150 yards earlier than in a GT3 car.
Wow, that takes a little bit of relearning for this racetrack, and yeah, we can definitely jump on board with you as now you start to catch, it looks like the 30 machine Arabia here up in the mountain, and you know, we've seen it a few times already, but man, how tough is it knowing you have the race lead, you're seeing that gap shrink, but you know it is almost suicide, right, to try and make a pass as he gets a mistake though through the mountain.
Yeah, like right there, I had almost a 3-second lead and it got erased almost to nothing behind Arabia. And Arabia didn't do anything wrong. You know, he's not holding me up on purpose. He's just running his line, which is what everybody expects him to do. And everybody on here to do is run your line. Don't worry about the guy behind you. He did a good job maintaining his position. And here's where I'm talking about this heavy braking zone here, Brett. So I'm already on the brakes right here. And then you see the 150 mark on the right. That's where I brake in a GT3 car.
Gotcha, yeah, so a lot earlier. And it seemed like these cars, even with the gear too, right, started tapping out right around that kind of that almost secondary kind of hill that you go on over. And that seemed like the place where you definitely wanted to start to get woed on up.
Yeah, I wish I would have tried maybe downshifting the fourth like the 9 was doing. Seemed to help him a lot into that corner. Like I said, I was always into fifth trying to woe it up. You know, once I got through the kink, then I was starting to downshift where he downshifted before it. I never even thought of that, never even crossed my mind, so he might have taught me something here in a stock car.
Yeah, as we see Arabia here, maybe a little bit too wide into turn number 1, loop that thing on around, keeps it back rolling. And I mean, just with the race of attrition, right, we see this 30 machine moving on up. He's already up to 13th here.
Yeah, he did a good job. I mean, he had a couple mistakes throughout the night, but you know, just keeping the thing on track, keep going is all you got to do. As you see, the 78's trying to put a little more pressure on me here.
Yeah, that he is now within half a second of you. As I think we also get Tyler Humphrey maybe off the track. Yes, he went off there big time into turn number 1. Probably, what do you think, just got in there too hot, locked him up? It looks like I do the same as well. Yep. Big time off as well. It's easy to do in turn number 1.
It's easy to do, and you see all those rocks that are getting dragged back onto the track. That actually makes it worse for everybody else too, because then they have to deal with them in that corner. It makes it a little more slick on exit.
Yeah, that it is. So, I mean, especially for you guys as the leaders, right? Most of the time, you guys are probably some of the first to come up on an issue on the racetrack, whether debris or another car.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, puts an X factor into stuff. And you notice there the 78 kind of stays more in the middle of the track on the backstretch, um, which actually, if you do that, the car bottoms out less, so it's probably killing less of his straightaway speed, whereas I always stay to the left.
Good to know. Yeah, definitely appreciate all these little tidbits here because you're definitely one of the good guys to chat with when it comes to tidbits when it's this racetrack. But man, I just got to mention here, 5th through about 10th here on the speedway, all, you know, within, I want to say like 2 seconds of one another. They're all right on top of each other going through the mountain here.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, honestly. One mistake by one of the front guys in this group can take everybody out.
Yeah, that again starting to get spread out just a little bit there as Michael Wolf maybe got held up just a tiny bit by Johnny Barker through the last little part of the mountain section. And like we saw with you out in front with the race lead, I mean, that can really shrink up the gap or really spread it on out depending how it works out and how it times on out.
Yeah, it's lap traffic here is no joke. I mean, I've had some instances here where I've been driving going up the mountain on guys, you know, we're 4 hours into a 12-hour race. We had one instance one year we were leading, guy going up the mountain tapped his brakes in front of me and I was right on him. And I just ever so slightly gave him a 0x and he ended up spinning around. Well, then that same guy got back in the car about 8 hours later or whatever it was, close to the end of the race, and he intentionally wrecked us and took us out from the lead. So, yeah, it happens. You get guys that get mad at you here, but it's part of racing at this place. It's hard to do.
Yeah, that it is as we ride on board here with Courtney Nelson. And I want to take a look, like you said, that downshift as well as, you know, where they're placing their car through this fast section.
Yeah, see downshifting there before they're even around the corner. Using a lot of RPM to slow the car down.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I was kind of scared to do that for the wheel hop, but I tell you what, like you said before, if you match right, I bet you could get some extra wooling up power, let's say, in these race cars doing that.
We got live chat says you want to watch the 9 when they exit the pits, so we need to keep an eye on that, I guess.
Alrighty, we'll keep an eye here on Jameson here as we get close to that pit stop. I think in the next lap or two, you know, we'll see most of the field come down for their one stop. So that should be exciting to see as well. Because I don't know about you, Jeff. I'm sure you have a lot of practice coming to pit road, but man, I realized it once I got, you know, about 5 to 10 laps in. I said, oh crap, I never even practiced pit road once for this thing.
Yeah, like I said, the guy that designed it should be fired because it's not an easy one. When we pit, everybody pay attention to that. It's left, right, left again, and it's not all the same corners. You're hitting curbs trying to slow down, and then you try to accelerate before you get into pit road, which makes it even harder.
Yeah, and the scariest thing for me, I didn't know where the pit line was or where you had to be woed up for pit road, so I was extra cautious trying not to speed on pit road because, you know, speeding on pit road, you know, is usually a night ender, but here tonight, with it being a road course as well as, you know, no cautions, I mean, you speed on pit road, you're game over just in that aspect.
Oh yeah, and you know, a GT3 car, you're so used to hopping curbs even getting onto pit road, and then, you know, once you straighten out and you're headed towards the pits, you just hit a pit limiter button and it sets your speed for you. You don't have to adjust it. It's completely different in this car, and I'm surprised I didn't get popped for speeding up pit road.
Yeah, that's another good point here is no pit limiters in these race cars at any time, you know, ovals or when they come to road courses. So you can't just press a button, keep your foot on it, and, you know, take a sigh of relief. You're still watching that pit road speed. And like you said earlier, Jeff, it's a weird one. You know, the conversion from kilometers to mile per hour, it was like 31.1 miles an hour or something wild. As here we go, heading to pit road here. So nice and easy there. And Yeah, like you said, pretty quick to the cone as you had to really get that thing mowed up after committing to it. But so far, top 3 down on pit road here this time by.
So let's keep an eye on the 78 and the 9 both here at the pits. I think the 78 stalled his car twice trying to leave the pits, and then apparently the 9 had an issue leaving as well.
Yeah, so we'll keep the eye on the end of this. We'll see if Stephen Holmes here ducks down pit road or if he decides to go out another lap. But by the time you guys get service, right, you guys should still be in front of the 90, of Stephen Holmes. Yeah, that looks like that is the case here as well. Yeah, Jamison Heath able to jump up a lot of positions there, or I should say a position, as he takes up a ton of time on Courtney Nelson. And Nelson finally off of pit road after kind of a long stop there.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on this 9 here and see what happens with cold tires. I would imagine he's trying to push to catch to me, and which I don't blame him. It's perfect time to pounce. You just got to be careful with the cold tires.
Yeah, that you do here. It looks like Courtney Nelson had a pit time of about a 15.79, and to put that into reference, Jeff, you had a 12.8. Jamison had a 12.4, so definitely a little bit extra. As he's around through that bump there. That's
an impressive save.
Yeah, that it is. I don't know how he didn't wreck that car, because that is one of, if not the trickiest corner there, because that car unloads no matter where it seems like you place it.
Yeah, it looked like he got just a little bit too far to the right, that bump I was talking about earlier. You can see there, good looking sunset overlooking the city as you're going down the mountain.
Yeah, I tell you what, besides, the threat of racing in darkness, man, was it an awesome time to be out here on the sim and kind of enjoy the sunset, especially at the top of the mountain. If you had time to glance on up, it looked really nice out of the windshield.
It did, and I don't know if you noticed this, Brett, but when the race got going, we got that glare going into turn 3 before going up the mountain. The sun was out.
Yep.
It's trying to set, and you're staring into the sun the whole time. Makes it hard to see.
Yeah, you definitely had a big glare on the front straightaway. And, as the roads, or I should say the racetrack starts to get a little bit darker, we hear more and more drivers start to say, hey, we start missing our marks, because the first thing to go as it gets dark is some marks, in the dark pavement.
Yeah, that's when you're actually paying attention to the sounds of the car versus, your braking markers around the track. That's when it actually comes into play and being a plus for the driver.
Yeah, as we see more cars now heading in pit road, Steve Holmes going to bring it on down. Same with the 14 machine of Mason Hall. Tyler Humphrey as well will make it to pit road. Now here comes the 71 as well. So besides the top 3 pitting the lap before, it seems like everyone else here heading to pit road.
You watch that 6.8 second gap that I have right now over Jamison. That gap is slowly going to start shrinking as those two try to run me down.
Yeah, that they will here as we get cars here rolling off of pit road, as Mike Wolf here going to go on, or I should say try and catch this group as well. Looks like Stephen Holmes here off of pit road will hang on to the 4th position. Mason Hall looks like will come out in 5th as well. So, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I'm 99% sure, but I'm pretty sure Jamison and Courtney both teammates, so I'm sure, that could also help, right? You practice with some fast drivers, it's only going to make you better, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why the 802 in general has the Elite Series, This Sunday series is for guys, within a certain I-rating range, and then once you feel you're ready to move up and race the guys without a cap, that's when you move to the Elite Series on Thursdays. So, you see Brett, you lock up a little tire there, got it a little heavy into turn 1 or turn 2.
That I did heavy into turn number 2 on these cold tires as well. So just off of pit road, I saw Mike Wolf and my relative. I said, man, I got to stay in front of this 20 machine, and that's all it takes right there. Luckily, I didn't clobber the wall. I was looking dead at it for a split second there.
Looking in the live chat here, says they are not teammates. Looks like Nelson's teammates with the 92.
Good call there. Heads up there, Michael Wolf going to get the wall big time through the fast uphill section. It looks like that car going to be done for the night. Tough break there as he drove his way back inside the top 10 here. And look at the debris it leaves.
Yeah, that's a bad spot to be leaving debris too. Makes it real hard going down this hill.
Yeah, that it does. And it looks like, yeah, that car is going to be broke. Going to call it a night there. A tough break for Mike there, as I think he's actually maybe going to try and limp it back to pit road as now we head back up towards the front here. And once again, that battle between the 9 and the 78 still alive and well. Best battle on the speedway is for this second spot.
They notice they're still eating into the gap that I have in front of them.
Yeah, that they are now down within 5.5 seconds. So these two still throwing out some good lap times. Last time by, both of them with their almost best lap time, if not their best lap time. Both able to do a 2:05.5, whereas you are running up in front here currently at 2:06.8.
Yeah, at this point in the race, I was getting a little worried about my fuel if this was because I thought it was going to run all the way out. So down the straightaways, I'm actually running about 3/4 throttle on the front back straights.
Okay, so keeping a little bit of extra RPM out of the car, keeping a little bit extra fuel in it as well. As yeah, that was kind of the big X factor, especially as we start getting closer to the end of this. Is hey, when do we call this race due to the sunlight? Because we're gonna get a good view of it from the broadcast booth of how dark this racetrack really becomes here. As we can already see now, you know, sunset already happened, sky turned red. That sun's already set beneath the horizon, let's say.
So these two are pretty consistent here.
Yeah, Michael Wolf does bring that 20 machine to pit road. That's pretty impressive.
That's impressive.
Yeah, to have a moment at the top of the hill all the way on the other side of the racetrack and to limp it on back, that's pretty good.
That's a long way to be driving a broke race car.
Yeah, that it is. And these guys last time by, once again, just above a 2:05, a 2:06.0 for Jamison Heath. Courtney Nelson at 2:06.2. So, yeah, like you said, these guys consistent and consistently fast. That's tough to do around this place.
I know I said it already, but I can't say enough how impressed I was with everybody who showed up that was out here running. It just shows these guys, they're not scared of anything. When Rob made the announcement that well, first of all, I was pushing him to try to get a road course on the schedule because I'm a road course guy. I was like, come on, give us one. Well, I don't know why he did it, but he put this one in here, which is about the hardest one you could have picked. But it didn't scare these guys away, man. They showed up and showed out.
Yeah, that they did here, and we see some heavy damage to the 7 machine of Tyler Humphrey. Well, let's go back about a lap or so and see what happened to the 7 machine, because he, I'm pretty sure had a pretty big moment here, as we'll take a look and see what happened here. So this is slowed on down. We'll get the full speed going, as here we go into the dirt sideways, and wow, what a tumble. I mean, I lost count there, but I want to say he went up and over about 10 times or so. That was a huge flip there by the 7 machine.
Yeah, that was Ryan Preece, very Daytona-esque.
Yeah, that it was. Is one more time, and we see just a little bit of wheel hop, almost upsetting that race car, get that thing bouncing, and then, I mean, what a tumble to be had here. I mean, definitely the fastest part of that racetrack there, but wow, what a moment. And somehow as we head back live here, that 7 machine still out here on the racetrack.
Well, you gotta think, Brady didn't hit nothing. He was in the air the whole time. He was pirouetting around there.
Yeah, I guess that's the case.
Fastest part of the racetrack. I would guess probably when that car started to step out, he was probably in the 160 range, mile per hour wise.
Yeah, it had to be, as speed's definitely up in that range by the time you go over that crest. And, you know, not a lot of time to react, especially to hang on to that race car. And, you know, that's still a sketchy spot in this track. I mean, up through this hill, you're putting wheel in that race car. It's easy for it to step on out. And if it does, it's a big moment like we just saw from the 7.
Yeah, it's easy to do, even with a ton of laps here. I mean, I still do it every once in a while to where I'll miss that corner.
Yeah, let's take a look here with you I'm going to go watch the mile per hour here. What you take this right-hander. I mean, already up above 150, 165, 170, and you get up to 180 in this straightaway before that right-hander. You're up to 190, so I mean, hauling a ton of speed into there.
Yeah, like I said, you're hard on the brakes, and it's about a good 10 to 15 miles an hour faster than a GT3 car, with less downforce to get the car turned and woed up.
Yeah, so it looks like here under the current conditions, I want to say about 14 or so cars still out here on the racing surface. I mean, Rob Lowell's still out here in 14th, Arabia Caton in 12th, Johnny Barker 11th, Michael Wolf, of course, done here. James Hipsoff, he is now inside the top 10 in 9th. Grant Humphrey up 6 spots in 8th. Tyler Humphrey with that huge barrel roll still hanging in 7th. Myself in 6th. And how about this? Mason Hall 5th, Stephen Holmes 4th. And then, of course, we know the top 3 already.
You can see the sun has gone down, like you said. Getting pretty dark pretty fast here, Brett. You're starting to see a lot more of the sparks happening from cars bottoming out on the track.
Yeah, and pretty soon here, it's going to be like a night race. We're going to see everyone's rotors glowing on these race cars in I should say a few laps, let's say, because that sun continuing to go down this track, getting darker and darker here as Mason Hall, he is tracking down Stephen Holmes for 4th. These two separated now by under 2 seconds.
Yeah, that ought to be a good battle here once Hall catches Holmes. And if I know Steve, he's going to fight back. He won us our first 12-hour. He was actually in the car on the second to last lap. We had another team actually going down the backstretch, get next to us, side draft us. And, oh, Brett, what are you doing?
I tell you what, we way overblew turn 1 there, just racing by myself. And I'm going to blame it on the darkness, but totally just missed my mark there and going to leave a nice little bit of debris there off of turn number 1 for Johnny Barker to go through.
Well, just say that you thought that the race was over because the lights weren't on and you were going to get ice cream.
Exactly. I said, where's the quickest way off this racetrack? It's just straight into turn number 1, right?
That's good.
Yeah, but getting close to the end here, just over 30 minutes left. And I think, yeah, right now, you know, we start really talking about, hey, we got to look at how much light's on the racetrack. It looks like Tyler Humphrey gonna finally call it a night here. It looks like gonna be done with the race. So that 7 machine, after that huge tumble, survives more laps than I thought it could have been done in a next gen car.
Yeah, it was a pretty good tumble. I'm surprised to see him drive away from that.
Yeah, that it is. We take a look now at the 92 machine of James Hipslop, and yeah, I was corrected by Courtney there in the YouTube chat lands, but he said, yeah, he's teammates with the 92 here of Hipslop. So take a look at Courtney's teammate here inside of the top 10. Now, of course, getting around Tyler Humphrey as he exits out of the race. So now move the 92 up into 7th.
Another strong run going right here is, like we said, you just stay in the race, keep it on the track, you're going to have a good finish.
Yeah, that it is.
Arabia is actually in 12th right now, so he's got a good strong run going.
Yeah, that he does, continue to pick up spots as cars continue to fall on out of this race. So the 30 machine, a little bit of damage on the right front, but I tell you what, starting to put it on together here. And like we said many a times, you know, you just got to be here at the end when it counts. And I tell you what, this battle now within 1 second as Mason Hall continues to track down the 90 machine of Stephen Holmes.
Steve's not going to give it up easy, I can tell you that. He'll fight for every piece of ground that he can keep.
Yes, here we go. Those cars now separated by less than 2 car lengths here. So this is where it gets wild here because, like you said a little bit earlier, Jeff, now for the 14 machine, now you got a car inside your braking marks, especially if you're one of those drivers that really looks at the track in front of you. It can really cause, you know, a problem without even you realizing it, and a little bit of an extra X factor. How about a little bit of lap traffic in the mountain as well?
Yeah, you already got your hands full. Let's just throw a little more in there with you.
Yeah, Steve, man, both of them able to get around Arabia there very nicely through the mountain. Very impressive to see as these two continue to run nose to tail, as old James Hipsoff going to have a moment as well. The 92 machine, let's take a look, see what happened to him going down the mountain. And I'm going to have to take an educated guess, but it's going to say the hairpin got the 92.
Yep.
Oh,
that was a big hit, too.
yeah, right where that tire kicks on out, and a huge hit for James Hipsoff there, as his night going to come to an end there.
That just goes to show you, I mean, you've been running for an hour already, and one little lockup just cost him his race.
Yep, that it does there. Was able to drive himself inside of the top 10, and looks like might be falling out of it. And another driver driving his way inside the top 10. I mean, had an eventful night, you know, a lot of moments. You can see this car not at 100%, but he's still out here keeping that race car under him. Johnny Barker, he's up to 8th now, Jeff.
I tell you what, Johnny Barker's one of them. It's like a bad habit, man. You can't kick. Nothing against Johnny. He's a great racer. I love racing the dude, but man, it never fails. Whatever you're doing, whatever track you're at, if it's later in the race, I guarantee you, if he's not in front of you, if you look in your mirror, Johnny's going to be right there.
Yeah, and speaking about that, he's going to be the next car out of your windshield just in front of you through the mountain section. And I'm sure you're looking at the relatives saying, hopefully I catch him down this fast straightaway here.
Yeah, I don't want to catch him in the mountain, that's for sure. About this point, I realized I'll be about one lap to the good on fuel, so I wasn't saving anymore. I was picking it up, but you can see Jameson still closing the gap. I could have went a little faster, but I was just worried I was going to make that one mistake in the mountain, and it was going to cost me. So I figure if I give up some time, let Jameson catch me, even if we're nose to tail, you know, let's battle to the end versus me trying to pick up the pace and pull away and then make a mistake and be done.
Yeah, that it is. Jameson Heath now about 5 seconds back from our race leader, as Old Trouble inside of our top 5. Mason Hall going around right off the back bumper. I think he actually just got around Steve Holmes there.
Yeah, in a bad spot to be turned around on the track, too.
Yeah,
Should be clear after this. His car looks broke. I think that right rear tire's got some damage on it.
Yeah, if not the right rear, for sure the right front is. Yeah, looks like he can't get that car rolling. And heartbreak for Mason Hall here late in this one, at driven his way up into 4th there. And then, like we said all night long, it's just that one mistake, right?
Yeah, I wonder if that was maybe some contact with Steve, or maybe he just got a little overzealous, you know, getting in front of him maybe and having a mistake.
Yeah, let's take a look here up into the mountain, into this tricky left-hander here, and looks like, ooh.
Oh yeah, he just went a little bit wide and it kind of drops off on the right-hand side there. He got loose. Bad spot to impact the wall.
Yeah, and of course right into those tire barriers as well. Another big hit into the tires, and it seems like, man, if you hit those tires here tonight, it seems like it's almost a race ender no matter where you're at in this racetrack.
Yeah, it's like, this place isn't forgiving. You make one mistake, it's going to cost you. So just being slow and steady, hit your marks. You got to race this track, nobody else on it.
Yeah, that it is, as you start to get closer here to Johnny Barker. Not going to catch him here before the mountain, so you probably have to sit behind the 6 car up through the mountain. We'll wait till the live time and scoring. Actually, Johnny Barker giving you the move over, and good heads up racing by him to let you on by. I'm sure you sighed a big relief to see that one there.
Yeah, I was. I didn't expect Johnny to pull over. I know he's always courteous and respectful. He's one of the drivers that will do that, but he didn't have to here. I probably would have pushed the issue, though, with laps winding down and the gap closing. I probably would have tried to make a move on Johnny in the mountain this time.
Yeah, and I tell you what, maybe for even Johnny Barker, I mean, he's got to look at big picture too, right? Mason Hall just jumps out of the race. He's already inside the top 10, so he's probably looking at, hey, I just got to let these fast cars go on by safely and just finish this off race with probably a better result than, you know, you could hope for.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, I don't know what they expected coming into the night, but you know, as long as you stayed running, you were going to get a good finish. And you know, Johnny's going to be well inside the top 10 here, where you know, this might be one of the races that counts in his championship. You know, this might not be one of his drop weeks.
Yeah, that's kind of the big X factor when it comes to the Winston Cup points is, you know, no playoffs, anything like that. So every race matters, every race counts. You know, there are, of course, 2 drop weeks in case, you know, you didn't have this racetrack or whatever. But if you can put together a semi-decent finish, that could definitely help your season in a big way here tonight.
Oh yeah, as we see, we got Eric Holly out here in the live chat. One of my Bathurst teammates. He's actually a 3-time champion as well. He's the one I've ran the last 2 with and won. So glad to see Eric hanging out there.
Yeah, awesome to see Eric out here. Wish we could have had him out on the track because that would have been another good benchmark to race with him around this place.
Yeah, it would have been. He would have put on a good show too. I would imagine he would have been right there with Steve Holmes.
Yeah, that he would have been, but I tell you what, Jamison Heath, Courtney Nelson, I would love to hear from those two how many laps they have at this racetrack, because I tell you what, they have put together a fantastic race with one another and just overall, I mean, battling with each other and putting together this whole thing. That's awesome to see as well from those two.
Yeah, it's impressive. I'd like to get him in here for an interview after the race.
Yeah, hopefully they can make it. If not, we'll chat with them a little pre-race before Sunday night's race. We'll be back on schedule with that, and maybe Jeff, if you're around, don't need as much practice time, maybe we could drag you up into the booth, and I'm sure you got the better questions to ask about this race here with all your experience around this place.
Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Yeah, that sunset, I tell you what, pretty much done and over with. That red sky has now gotten to a lot lighter shade of red here, and we can see starting to get darker and darker through the mountain section already.
Yeah, right now is when you hear all the chatter on the radio going about, you know, is the race going to get shortened due to adverse conditions? Are we going to run it out? What's going to happen? So a lot of guys wondering what's going to happen here. What's the play? I know Jamison's probably thinking, well, if they're going to call it short, I need to hurry up and run him down now. And I wasn't sure we were going to call it, so I was kind of conserving a little bit of fuel, even though it said I had a lap to go. I didn't know if that lap to go was, am I going to be good to the white flag lap, or is it going to make it all the way around? So a lot of stuff going through my head right now.
Yeah, and just another X factor up in front of you, a 5th place runner myself here, might be a late race factor as well. So just to keep you on your toes as well, you know, just another little wrench to throw in there. But I tell you what, pretty impressive to see this pace throughout this race. I mean, have lapped up into the top 5, but I think everyone outside of the top 5, though, having some sort of big time moment throughout the race, though.
Oh yeah, it's easy. I don't want to say it's easy to lap people here. It's easy to go a lap down here, let's put it that way. But even if you're a lap down, it doesn't mean you're out of it, especially if anyone that actually runs the 12-hour. I mean, there's been times we've been a lap or 2 down that we got caught up with some damage and had 30 seconds to fix, and we're like, yeah, let's just sit here. We got the pace. You know, we might be able to make it up, and then we come back to win or something. So you see a good little battle here coming in some lap traffic.
Yeah, that we do. Courtney Nelson in P number 3 trying to navigate late in this one here. Hasn't maybe quite had the pace here this second stint that's needed, but I do see a little bit of damage on the left front quarter panel as well, so I'm sure that's affecting the handling of the race car, because that damaged number 7 to Tyler Humphrey back out on the speedway after those barrel rolls, and I tell you what, keeping pace with our 3rd place runner as well.
Yeah, he might have just had to go get checked out, make sure he didn't have concussion or something before they sent him back out.
Exactly. Had to, you know, go to the mandatory concussion protocol. They said, hey, you know, you can see straight, get back out there.
I'll tell you what's going to be fun later in the year is I got Eric convinced, Holly, he's going to try to run the Bathurst 1000 with me this year. later in the fall in the V8 Supercar. So that should be a fun one.
Yeah, that is always a race kind of on my bucket list, let's say, to maybe one day do, because, man, it seems like this place, I mean, another reason why I had to run it, just such a fun, flowing racetrack that once you get it right, it is just fun to do laps on. It's almost like the Nürburgring, right? You get this place down, and it's like, man, it's just fun to kind of just run laps here and just see what, not even pace-wise what you can do, but just go out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be kind of mentally ill to enjoy it too. We always say, but like we'll get out here if we get a Saturday night or something where a bunch of us are just sitting around. We'll get in GT3 cars, come out here, play around, load a setup, and we'll just sit here and click laps away, after one after another, and you find every little spot on the track that you can pick up a tenth, a half a tenth, or whatever else, and then you apply that into the actual 12-hour race or even a race like this. So anybody that's got extra time, it doesn't necessarily have to be a road course, even an oval. If you can just go out, practice, and just, try different brake biases, try, 2-foot driving, gas brake, try loading the car different into the corner, something. Just try to learn anything you can to help you, master a track and get a little more speed.
Yeah, as we ride on board now with our second place runner, Jameson Heath, he has tracked down now within 4.5 seconds. So Jameson's still looking very sporty here, but I wanted to ride on board to see how kind of dark this racetrack is getting, as Opie kind of lags on out for maybe a split second here. Hopefully he comes on back.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be some stuff? You run a good race and then all of a sudden you disappear.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like we got him back here, so we'll jump back on board with him. And we can see definitely getting pretty dark out here around the racetrack. I mean, that sun pretty much fully set, that light, not much left of it.
No, as you can see, man, he's so aggressive getting into that S section. It's just such a good entry on his part. He was definitely faster than me all night there. You see a little bit of a wobble there getting into that braking zone.
Yeah, and I think that might have been because they had one car sitting off in the gravel here. And this will get a good indication of how dark it is. I mean, here's the lights on the pace car lit up nicely into turn number 1, and that's the only light on the racetrack we have here currently.
Yeah, they didn't even have the front stretch lights turned on, so I guess somebody forgot to pay the bill.
Exactly. I think that may have been the white flag, and I think we're coming to the checkered here. So I think at this point, with the pace car lights on and all that stuff too, I think we are going to be close to calling it. That might have actually been, I think, the 2 to go mark.
That might have been us trying to figure out how we were going to go about this.
Yeah, as we have Rob a little slow on the racetrack too, as he tries to figure all this out as well, and some damage to the right front on the 21 as well. So he will bring that thing pit side here late in this one. So gap now about 4 seconds back, no cars around one another. So now it's all about driver pace late in this one of who cannot make a mistake as the track continues to get darker and darker here in this one.
It's definitely getting hard to see in the car right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, that it is. I mean, outside of the car can see maybe a little bit better than inside the car, but as we rode on board just a moment ago with the 9, definitely on the darker side and only going to get worse. So, it's that fine line, right? You don't want to call it too early and have someone say, oh man, I had something more left up my sleeve, but also you got to know that, hey, it's a 2-minute lap, so by the time you come back around as well, it could be a lot darker than what you even started the lap, let's say.
Yeah, and right at this point, they're sitting there talking about when they want to call it. I'm being asked, I think Jameson's being asked, and I didn't want to make that call being the leader. The 9's running me down, so I want to give him his shot. So I said, whatever he decides is what we're going to do. I'm not going to say call this race just because I'm out front. I don't want to seem unfair. I want everybody to have a fair shot here.
Yeah, and I think that's what we get here. I think that time by is then the unofficial white flag lap here. So we will have everyone try and come on around as I once again go off the racetrack here. And I think actually that may have done it. We'll see if the caution comes on out here. Pretty sure right around.
Yeah, I think when they were running, or they were going to throw it, I was still on the gas. And it looks like we do have the 78 is in Discord for post-race whenever we're ready.
Yeah, that we do. So that is awesome to see. And hopefully we'll see if Jameson can get cell service. If not, like I said, we'll definitely talk to him, let's say, Sunday night before the race. But yeah, I believe that does. I'm trying to find a good car, maybe closer to the front straightaway. Here we go, of Grant Humphrey here across the stripe. We'll see if we get any sort of indication that it's caution. Yeah, we see one guy at least waving the flag there. So yeah, that was to the checkered flag last time by Jeff, and looks like you got the job done, man, here at Mount Panorama. That's got to feel pretty good, as like you said, I don't know if we're coming back to this place in the future, so for you to write your name in the record book with a win here, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I think I heard the podcast from Rob earlier in the week. I think he said this is a one and done. We ain't coming back. So I'll take it.
Yeah, an awesome race by you, Jeff. And I guess while we have you already in the booth, man, we'll start with you as, you know, cars get woed on up and all that good stuff here. But man, first and foremost, you know, an hour, and I think I want to say we did an hour and 20 minutes before we threw the caution flag. I mean, what was your thoughts with this race, and how'd you feel overall with it, man? Because, you know, it all came down to the start of the night and starting with qualifying, right?
Yeah, and overall, I think it was a good race, not just for me, but everybody in general. Like, just everybody ran a good, smart race. Everybody was respectful. Just, it was a good race overall. It was some of the best racing as far as a stock car on a road course, I think, that I've had, as far as people being courteous. But yeah, it was a good all-around night.
Yeah, that it was. And, you know, looking at the big picture, no big mistakes by you, but a few close calls with lap traffic. Do you think that is what kept you on your toes the most throughout the race, or did you really have any sort of big moment, let's say, besides maybe that one time, like you said, where maybe the brake bias wasn't set that perfect number for that corner?
We didn't catch it on the broadcast, but there was one where I passed, I think it was Tyler or maybe Grant Humphrey at the top of the mountain, and I just caught him at the wrong spot and it threw off my brakes, and I wiggled a little bit, didn't touch the wall, but it upset the car and it could have been real costly.
Yeah, luckily for you, Jeff, it worked out nicely there. Able to, you know, keep that thing facing the right direction. And man, after, like we said, you with a handful of other drivers, man, a tough season so far for you. How's it feel to be back in victory lane, though?
It feels good. Hopefully we can turn into something else and turn the luck around. This Sunday league's gone a lot better than the Thursday league has gone for me. Unfortunately, I can't run as many nights as I want to, so I'm going to focus on Sundays and Wednesdays now. We tried the Gen 6 car, but there was too much netcode with it since it's not, you know, kept up by iRacing anymore. So I think we're going to switch to the ARCA car this week at Bristol with 100 pounds cut off the weight of the car, and then like another 70, 80 horsepower in the car. So should be a fun car to drive.
Yeah, that it will be. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think I might try and sneak on in there here this Wednesday night, try out some Bristol action, which, you know, that place, a beast of itself, but that car track combo, that sounds like a lot of fun, like you said, with the extra power and the reduced weight and those things.
It should be, and you should be able to get the cars, you know, loose by getting up under them. Unlike the Gen 6 or this car, where it's completely different. The ARCA car, you actually, like the O'Reilly car, you can get someone loose from behind.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be fun to watch here. And Jeff, you know, surprisingly, haven't chatted with you yet this season, so I'm going to ask the age-old question: is any upgrades with the sim setup here recently, or maybe for someone tuning in here, what do you got for wheel pedals, all that good stuff here?
No upgrades here recently. Still running the Moza R9 base. For this race, I was running GSI GT3 wheel so I could adjust my brake bias on the fly on my fingers. And then Moza CRP Pro pedals, which were actually giving me some problems tonight, and they were earlier in the season at some ovals, so that'll probably change here before too long, going to the Sim Race Expo in Chicago here later in the year, so I might pick up some new ones. Other than that, nothing's really changed. Still the same track racer rig, GT style seat, sequential shifter, stuff like that. So nothing new here really.
Alrighty, well, awesome stuff, Jeff. As we'll see you bring it out to the front stretch here. Get ready to celebrate it on up. But yeah, as we get ready for you to do that, we got to hand over the mic to you. And first, thank you for being part of the broadcast booth. It was great to get your insights here with this race and see the success you've had, as well as, want to give you the time now to thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or anyone else you'd like to give a shout out for this win here down under.
Oh, you for broadcasting every week, Rob, putting on the league and all the admins and stuff, giving us a place to race throughout the week. It's always a good time. And, obviously my wife let me do this. And then even tonight, come down and do the broadcast with you, kind of give some insight to the other drivers and people watching of what goes on. And, hopefully some guys watch this and maybe somebody can learn something from what I'm explaining. I'm always an open book and willing to help any racer in here if I can, especially road courses. So if anybody in here ever wants to practice, just hit me up. I'm more than willing to help you.
Alrighty, awesome stuff, Jeff. And yeah, we got, I believe, our third place finisher here in the waiting booth. What do we say? We chat a little bit with the 78 machine of Courtney Nelson here.
Yeah, let's see how their evening's going.
Alrighty. Courtney, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet and Jeff Pogo here in the booth, man.
Yeah, I got you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. I tell you what, first and foremost, man, an impressive run here in Mount Panorama. What were your thoughts with the race, and how were you feeling after that one? Because I know myself and Jeff, we were tired after that one.
Yeah, I was a wet mop for sure. I was tired.
Yeah, man, and we look big picture wise at this, coming on in here, a tricky track to say the least. I mean, how many laps have you done at this place? How much practice went into the success we saw here from the 78 car?
My teammate James told me about this race, and I joined the league and for this race because I love road courses and everything else, but I've not really turned very many laps outside of the next gen car for this race, and it was a blast. You know what I mean? You put me in a GT3 car and I'm slow as crap, but I like road course racing in stock cars.
Yeah, definitely in their own kind of aspect. Me and Jeff talked a little bit before, GT3 cars have all the nice fancy bells and whistles with ABS, traction control. Well, these things, it's all about that driver behind the wheel, whether you're locking them up or spinning the tires. And man, I tell you what, no real big mistakes out of the 78 except maybe just a little bit slow on pit road. What happened there for you?
Yeah, I pulled in pit, felt like I was pretty good, and the car didn't take off. I was looking around and realized that I killed the car, fired it back up, and lost some track position and went, well, I felt like I had long run pace, so I felt like I could push. I got out of my little bubble. I hit the wall, and that's what, I don't know what lap it was, but I hit the wall and lost 3 seconds a lap and went, now I'm just managing. Hopefully I can hang on to third.
Yeah, now you did able to hang on to third, and I don't think there was many, if any, clean race cars by the end of this one. That shows you just how tough this combo was. But yeah, man, just a great run for you. We're glad to have you because you put on a heck of a show. I mean, you got to mention a little bit about that battle sim between you and Jamison Heath. I mean, you guys put on a great show for many, many laps. That was fun to watch.
Oh, it was fun. I tried to comment in the YouTube deal is I have not had this much fun stock car racing around a road course, I think, in my whole time iRacing, which has been short. I think I've only been doing it for a couple of years, but it's been, this night was a blast for me. I had a great time. The racecraft between lap cars to position cars to everything else, like the racecraft was awesome.
Yeah, that it was. No big one at the start. You know, that's everyone's big fear when we load up to Mount Panorama, and that wasn't the case. Everyone very heads up racing, a lot of respect being shown, and it was a great time. And we, of course, have the man Jeff Pogo in here as well. Jeff, what do you got for questions around this place for Courtney?
A couple questions. First off, how much were you holding back? Because I know you had more pace in that car than what you showed. Were you doing like what I was doing, just holding back a little bit so you didn't push it too hard, lock up a tire, and smoke the wall going down the mountain, or what?
Yeah, when I first started the race, because I didn't get the qualifying lap I was hoping for, I was running 70, 75%. And then towards the end, when I was running up on the back bumper of you, I was probably running 85, 90% going, I think if this thing goes, when I went down pit road, I felt pretty confident that me and you were going to battle. I didn't know if I had the pace to pass you, because passing around this track is extremely difficult, right? It's more or less the mistake from the person in front of you, not necessarily you have the speed. And when I messed up on pit, I went too hard trying to make up the difference.
Yeah, it's easy to do here for sure. And like you said, it's hard to pass here. And in a GT car, there's a couple spots, you know, the heavy braking down the back stretch before the S's, you can usually dive bomb somebody to the inside there and get a job done.
Mhm.
This car, you're not going to be able to do that with no ABS.
No.
And like you said, you're just waiting for the car in front to make a mistake, which if you'd have put pressure on me, you never know. You might have pushed me that little bit extra too hard that I'd have been like, well, he's right on my butt, so I'm going to go a little deeper in this corner, and then I could have locked the tire and smoked the wall. So it could have been over real easy for me.
Well, and that was like the 9 made a mistake, and I was able to get by him, but then
Yep.
I was able to keep it because he was trying to push. So I was just trying to get behind you as close as I could before that first pit cycle to pressure to see if there was a mistake or to see what strengths, weaknesses. Like I said, I'm not a GT driver, so my experience on this track is limited, but it was just running a stock car around this track just seemed fun to me. And it didn't disappoint. It was a blast.
I'm curious what a O'Reilly car or an ARCA car, a stock car that's got some suspension, you know, that's not so rigid. I'm curious how fun one of those would be around here.
I think it would be huge because this car's disadvantage was when you tried to use the curbs, I had to train going up the mountain. I had to change my entry to miss that bump, right? This
Oh
car
yeah.
hates bump,
Yep.
right? You get an O'Reilly car, a Gen 4 car, ARCA car that can handle the bumps and you can use the curbs to your advantage. I think it would be a blast, right? When my teammate told me about this race, I was like, I really need to make my schedule open because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think it put on a good show too. Like I said, I'm surprised Rob put it in here, but I'm glad he did. And like you said, you can't use the curbs in this car because it's so rigid. You know, if you hit one and go up on two wheels, when it slams back down, it's gonna bounce and you're gonna end up unloading the tires and spinning out. Whereas, you know, I've run a ton of laps here in a GT3 car going down the mountain. As soon as you start going down, how you make that little right, left, right, and then back to the little downhill section, you know,
Yep.
where they have the runoff there on the left. Uh,
Yep.
a GT3 car, I usually send that thing and I got half the car in the air, half of it over the curb. I'm using all the racetrack, all the curb. This car, you cannot do that. So you had to train yourself to stay off those things.
You did, because as soon as it starts bouncing, it starts wheel hopping and it's over. And that's what happened to me. It's like I went, well, is this thing going to go full run? I need to save some fuel. I backed my pace off and hit the wall, right? Because I I turned in more than I thought I would because of the pace I was running. Hit a curb, hit the wall, right? It's a very rhythm deal, and you
It's
benefit from backing up the corners and just really just letting the car do its thing.
it is the rhythm here is pretty crazy. Steve and Eric Holly that I run the 12-hour with all the time, them guys always kind of joke with me. They're like, you know, you can back it down. We've got a 50-second lead or a 2-lap lead or a 3-lap lead, or this last one we did, we won by 6 laps. He's like, you can back it down. I'm like, if I back it down, I'm going to make a mistake. Like I have to keep doing what I'm doing, using all my same braking points, all the same speed. If I slow it down even a second, it's going to throw everything off, and I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to turn in too early and smack the wall, or I'm going to hit the curb too much or something.
And that's exactly what happened to me. I told my teammate James over the radio, right? I said I messed up. I backed off my pace to save some fuel, ended up catching the wall and losing 3 seconds a lap. I was like, I took myself out of it because I was trying to be cautious, and you just got to send it.
Yeah, Eric's still in the chat. He said, "Can confirm rhythm is everything there," which he knows. He's like me. He's run every one of these that I've ran, and we've got well over 3,000 laps here in a GT3 car. So rhythm's everything. But I'm glad you had a good run tonight. It was fun battling with you. I was curious if you and Jameson were going to give me some trouble, and I told myself before the race, if I don't qualify on the front row, I said I might start from the pits just in case something happens going up the mountain. Well, I'm glad I didn't, because if I would have never got back to the front.
Oh man, it was, like I said, stock car wise, other leagues I run, right? Like, this is the most competition that I have felt, and I had a blast even though I messed up, right? Like, your pace is outrageous, right? Like, I was very impressed, and I had a blast finishing third.
You had a strong run. There's nothing to be sad about that third place finish. Because I'll tell you right now, you beat Steve Holmes, who I think finished fourth. He's one of my teammates that runs the GT events with me, and he's got probably 3,000 laps here, and you beat him. So that says a lot.
No, I'm looking forward to running the rest of. I'm going to try to run the rest of the season here on these Sunday nights. It's the racecraft, you guys, this league, right? I'm very new to it. Ran the trucks a little bit, but I'm looking forward to running some laps here.
Looking forward to having you.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to having you, Courtney. As a great run for you here tonight. And another little fun fact for your top 3 finishers: only 3 cars ran a 2:05 or quicker, and it was all 3 of you guys. So that's pretty impressive to see as well for some race pace at that.
Yeah, that's GT3 speed territory. Definitely GT3 times for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I ran a 2:05 until the race. I may have ran it once in practice, maybe, but it was track conditions, everything else, people faster in front of you, pushing you outside your comfort zone. That's what I felt pushed me to running the laps that I did that night.
Yeah, awesome stuff, Courtney. Once again, thanks again for jumping in the broadcast booth here, chatting with us. Always love to chat with you guys, hear a little bit more about you. And with that too, Courtney, I always like to ask, what do you got for a sim setup? What do you got for wheels, pedals? Because it always seems like everyone has slightly different stuff out here.
So I run the Next Racing 160 rig. I got a Sim Magic Evo Pro and the P2000 pedals with a 200 kilogram load cell.
Nice. Sounds like a pretty good setup there. How's that been treating you?
I love it. I went from the Logitech Pro wheel and pedals. The load cell, that was the first setup I upgraded to. And this one, I love the heavy brake. I love the force feedback of the wheel. It's been treating me pretty good so far.
And that it did help you keep that car facing in the right direction all night long here to a P number 3, Courtney. So an awesome run. Before we let you go, man, and celebrate this podium, we of course got to hand over the mic to you one last time here and have you thank who you got to thank, whether teammates, sponsors, or anyone else here for this P number 3 here at a tough Bathurst.
You for broadcasting. I've watched the broadcasts back. They're awesome. Jeff for his ridiculous pace, the league for having me, my teammate James for showing me the path to come here and everything else. So I'm grateful for being here.
All righty, Courtney. Well, thanks again, man, for being part of the show here, and we look forward to seeing some more on Sunday night. So you, my man, have yourself a great rest of your week, and I think we'll catch you Sunday night. I think we head to Auto Club, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. How do you feel about that place?
Yeah, a mile and a half aren't my strengths, so I get a top 5 or a top 10, I'll be happy.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Well, Courtney, you have yourself a great rest of your night. Congrats on the P number 3 again, my man.
Yep, you guys too. Enjoy your evening.
You too.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. And Jeff, I guess I'll ask you that same question, right? Coming off a win last Sunday, this next Sunday we head to Auto Club. How do you feel about that place with these next-gen cars?
I think I feel good about them. I like the track, so it's very high speed. We'll just see what happens. Hopefully this turns it around and I get some momentum going in my direction.
Yeah, hopefully it does here, as this is big momentum, big shot in the arm for you, a win here down under here at Mount Panorama. So yeah, I think that'll mostly do it, Jeff. If you got something to do, feel free to jump on out. If not, we can head into the post-race show, run through tonight's finishing results. And if you got anything more to add, we'd love to hear it.
Nothing more for me, Brett. That's about it.
Alrighty stuff. Well, Jeff, one final time, anyone else you like to give a shout out to or anything like that? And once again, man, thanks again for putting on, being part of the great show. Congrats on the win, and thanks again for jumping in the booth, man. It is so cool to chat with you, especially around this place.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brett. It's good to see you on track. Hopefully we'll get you a couple more times.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to it. Hopefully we get some more road courses in the future. But yeah, wrapping things on up here, it'll be Jeff Pogo here picking up the win. Jamison Heath in second. Courtney Nelson rounding out the top 3. Stephen Holmes, a nice solid run for him. He will finish in 4th. And myself will round out the top 5. Grant Humphrey will bring it home 6th. Tyler Humphrey, somehow from many barrel rolls, actually will bring it home in 6th. Grant Humphrey in 7th. Johnny Barker in 8th. Mason Hall in 9th. And Arabia Caton. How about that, Jeff? He brings home, I want to say, if not his first top 10, definitely another good one for him.
It was a strong run. That's a good finish for Arabia. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. Rob Lowell able to bring it home 11th. James Hislop in 12th. Eli Raposa 13th. Mike Wolf in 14th. Todd Perot 15th. Chris Progard in 16th. Chance Griffith will finish 17th. Nate Brooker in 18th. And then the few final finishers after that: John Crosby in 19th. Tim Rogers 20th. Mike Kelly 21st. Steve Ritter 22nd. And Evan Fuqua in 23rd. And that will do it for Mount Panorama. Like we said, we're back to oval racing next Sunday night. And yeah, I'm glad we had this race on the schedule, Jeff, because it was so cool not only to broadcast it, but to be a part of the race. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad Rob let this race happen.
Yeah, it was a good one here, and I think that will do it here for us. So, Jeff, once again, thanks again for being part of the kind of the broadcast side of things. We'll show you a little bit of this side here. Hopefully you had a good time. I know I enjoyed it here. Once again, man, congrats on the win here. And let me just double check as I finish on up. I want to see about some stats, because I think this win now, catapults you up to the next group. Yes, it does. The drivers with 9 wins, Jeff, now you're part of in the Winston Cup Series. You now tie Rob Lowell and John Ross for the second most wins here on the Sunday night Winston Cup Series.
Who's got the most? I'm just curious.
So the most leading the way is 12 wins, and that goes to the 11 machine of Kenny Reel.
I knew it, Mr. Super Speedway. Kenny, I know you're listening, buddy. I'm coming for that title.
Yeah, that he is. He still leads the way with 3, but Jeff, you get one more closer with a big win here tonight in this one, and yeah, that's definitely exciting here. Breaks you with the tie you had with Johnny Barker and Anthony Calatoni. And I tell you what, even though, this season you haven't had the luck, man, overall, looking at the stats, you still have a 17% win percentage overall in your career.
That's not too bad. I just want to keep up the winning every season. As long as I can win at least one race every season, I'll be happy.
Yep, and luckily for season number 7, check that box here with this one. Now can go after just chasing checkered flags, right?
That's what the plan is.
Alrighty, well, that will do it here from down under. Mount Panorama in the books. It's Jeff Pogo walking away with the big trophy here, and we, of course, had Jeff up here in the booth. Thanks again, Jeff, for that. And, yeah, I think that would do it here. We, of course, got to thank all the racers that showed on up to be a part of this 23 drivers. Great to see. We got to, of course, thank all the admins here in 802, as well as the sponsors, that being BG Graphix, Riptide Radio, GStone Motorsports, Admin Boxx, Stone, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, as well as Admin Boxx and Rock Pirates RC. Also, Turn 3 partnered with Premier Setup Shops. You can find out more with the link in the description. That'll take you over to their website and have a lot of good stuff to offer there. So that'll do it for that. We'll be back to our normal scheduled show Sunday night at Auto Club at 7 o'clock, and we'll be back with live racing action. You won't want to miss that. So once again, I've been Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network with my buddy Jeff Pogo coming on board. Jeff, once again, thanks again for you. And yeah, one final kind of taking in the whole weekend. What are your final closing thoughts, my man?
We need more right turns.
I agree with that, as even Courtney Nelson said, man, that road course, a ton of fun here, and especially with this group, I think we definitely need at least something sprinkled on in, right?
I think so. I know you're listening, Rob. Come on, give the people a little something.
At least a little extra spice at some point, but yeah, that is awesome.
He's not gonna. He isn't gonna allow me back on the broadcast ever again.
I think you'll be good. I mean, I'll agree with that sentiment that we need at least some road course racing at some point. I know the numbers aren't quite always there and all that good stuff, but man, it is just so much fun to have the right people on a road course, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to have the best of the best, so why not give them a little bit of variety of everything? Super speedways, intermediates, short tracks, and a road course.
Yep, that it is. If you want to be the best, you got to be able to do it at all of them. So once again, Jeff, thanks again. Thanks again for all the chatters out there in the YouTube chat land. Appreciate every one of you guys, as well as everyone tuning on in here live or on the replay. So that would do it. Be sure to check in Sunday night here on Turn 3 Racing Network for race number 11 of the Winston Cup Series. But that'll do it for me here tonight. So everyone take care, stay safe, have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you Sunday night. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today, and remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.